Yeah, because I was thinking about like trying to do the prototype very soon because I have a lot of free time now. Um, I don't know, I guess maybe. Yeah, because obviously, like, I live in New Zealand and it's very green here, but right across in Australia, I was thinking about it, like the outback. It's, like, well, basically ruined. It's all desert and stuff. So there's some places on like I think it's like the northeast coast that I've been looking at it on Google Maps, and like you can see old river systems and things like this. So like I'm thinking I set up somewhere on the coast where I like desalinate the seawater and then like pump it inland basically and like make the rivers like run again. But you'd need to really do more than that to restore the land because it is really very bad to plant trees and stuff. You know, this is quite easy. Actually, yeah, like because it's obviously desert. There's a situation where all the topsoil is gone. It blew away in the wind, so you have to like dig a big hole and fill it with like compost or fertilizer, something like this, organic matter, and then you just like plant your seedling in the hole with all the matter, and because it like basically acts like a little reservoir thing, but also gives the tree a lot of nutrients, and so this will like secure the land, sort of thing, and start to help it rebuild itself. And if we can keep these trees alive, then we'll stand a really good chance of lots of little things growing underneath them. So really the problem there is just it's too hot, too dry, there's no rain. So, I, yeah, well, this is the main problem with, like, well, in the whole world really, is that there's lots of water around, but it all has lots of salt in it. So I reckon if we can use solar power, which, so you, like, pay some money to build your machinery, but then once the machinery's there, you don't have to pay any more money, it just works forever, or you need to, like, clean it, but it's not very much effort. Well, I say solar power, but not like photovoltaic or anything like this. I want to directly use the infrared, like the heat from the sun, and just concentrate this onto a point. Because really, the problem will be it getting too hot, because you have to keep it under 500 degrees, or you get that is where the water ionizes, and so maybe a explosion risk sort of thing. So you got to kind of be careful. So you don't actually want it to be too big either. So you'd like, um, so yeah, I think like for this prototype, I'm thinking of maybe just like a meter or two. And I still need to do some maths as well to, but that'll be quite easy because I only need to figure out an arc and then I can like draw the arc around the circle quite easily. So I'm just going to use aluminium because it's the easiest one to work with for me because you know it melts at like what 700 degrees or less. So that'll be like really easy for me to get going, even though it's not really the best reflector. It's good enough. to like prove what I want. And like maybe also there's a lake that's really maybe about 10 kilometers away or something, and it's really polluted, so I could also use it to clean up this. And there's also the option of a government grant if I do that, because they want like clean rivers and all this sort of thing. So they have a $100 million fund set up that they just give away to projects to make the water clean. So I think I could go after that as an option as well, but again, I need sort of proof of what I say is like it'll work, which it really should, I think. Like I'm just taking the sun and it's just taking energy really and transferring it into a different form. That's how I see it. Um, like you could even like use one of these big. It's going to essentially be a big mirror. And, yeah, you could run like a steam generator off it. There's a lot of different things you could do with it. I think I mentioned the heat of it before. This is actually an advantage that it can get really hot. Like if you get a dish, maybe say 5 meters, it'll be enough heat to melt straight through steel in like 30 seconds. So I could use this to refine metals and stuff because I don't know if you know, but there's lots of iron out in the outback of Australia. So this is just another option. Um, there's also apparently a lot of titanium on the west coast of the island I'm on. So maybe I could like refine some of that. But yeah, I need to get a forge set up pretty soon. But I know how I'm going to do this. I've got a old like air compressor, so it's essentially a big metal container, and I'm just going to cut it in half and make it into a very simple, like probably gas powered foundry. I mean, I'd prefer to use electricity because obviously it's cleaner, but also that costs a lot more money than like a $30 tank of gas. I don't know how like much many like cents per kilowatt it is here, but it would quickly add up, and I want to be able to do as much as I can. So it makes sense for me to go with the like LPG at the start rather than like using an arc furnace, which is easier and quicker as well. But yeah, so I think I can make a lot of progress on this project pretty soon because I have a lot of free time at the moment. Yeah. Yes. So this is. Yes. So like, this is what I'm trying to think about now because maybe like 2 days ago, I had an argument with my boss, and maybe I don't have a job anymore. So that's not really good at all, but that did happen. So I'm just trying to stay positive and focus on this now rather than that. So, yeah, I had a few, but it's like not too bad because there's like benefits and all that. So I won't be starving or anything. So it's really no problem. Um, yeah, I had a couple of other ideas, but that was more like just for fun. Like I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned it, but have you heard of the Icarus legend? Um, it's I think maybe Roman, probably Greek though, and a guy, he like glues feathers to his arms and he can fly around like a bird, this sort of thing. I like have heard of this myth since like I was quite young, and I thought that would be a fun thing to do. And I think like you could do the modern materials, or make like do this idea of the wings, and yeah, just use modern materials to do it. So I'm just thinking like recreating sort of like the like wing of a bird, basically, like recreate the anatomy to except larger, I guess. Yeah, there's actually another thing, because obviously you need power for it, because you know we don't have big enough muscles, um, and I have an idea for like like a fake muscle. Um, you basically get a whole lot of tubes, say like a few millimeters across or something, just made out of rubber, and you get them together into like a bundle. So it's really like a muscle, and when you fill or put compressed air into them, they expand. But as they expand, they also contract lengthwise, and so really you can use this to power flight and act as a muscle, because when you actually think about how our muscles work, they only do go one way, and then we have another muscle to pull it back on the other side. So I think I'm just trying to sort of recreate this with like, um, I guess these rubber hoses and compressed air. But I do think it could really work, and maybe also work for things like, um, you know, like your artificial limbs, possibly also that, but that would sort of be all of that would be sort of for fun, I think. Like, I would like to sort of fly around, but being in a plane, it's not really good enough. I think like a bird is what I want. Ah, yeah. 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 Because I was thinking that the reason they were really small tubes is to amplify the effect. So you have, instead of just one pulling, you have like 100 pulling. This is sort of what I'm thinking. But yeah, this also would be an advantage because you know you don't you want to be very safe and careful, I guess. But yeah, there's not really too much else. Like I was thinking, like maybe a boat would be good. Like I could just sail away and go out and see the world. That would be kind of really easy to do. I was like thinking I could just get like plastic bottles and recycle them. It would be really easy to like. It would be free, really, and you just need the, you know how they have numbers, the number two plastic, and it's really good because when you melt it, there's no real fumes that come off, so it's safe to do. I guess you don't need to be too careful with it. Like it's not going to be poisoning anyone when you like melt a whole bunch of plastic bottles down, which is kind of something you should think about, I guess. Um, Yeah. Have you ever like thought about this like artificial land or like the floating island sort of concept? Yeah, occasion. I think maybe there's a lot of plastic already floating out in the ocean that's conveniently processed into small particles. So you could go around in like a fishing boat or something and collect this and like build it into, I guess, like a big floating island of, I imagine it is lots of interconnected tiles of like plastic that all individually float and then sort of connected together. Sort of, I don't know. It's just, I'm sorry. Yeah, essentially, yes. Well, it really makes sense that you could make like aircrete or whatever it was you called it, because like you have rocks like pumice that can float, and that's just because it's a rock with lots of air bubbles in it. So there's no reason you couldn't do that to concrete. That would actually work really well. I think like the advantage of this is you get away from like all the oppressive governments and like their rules, because really they're trying to control everything. I think. Yeah, it's, we, I don't know. I feel like we're being held back by like, I guess just it's, I don't know, too many rules or something. But it would be really nice to be able to do something like this and have a floating island somewhere out there. But I just thought that that was a way that was realistic and wouldn't cost that much money. Like you could, you would use like a standard tile template in my vision, I guess, and so you sort of you get your fishing boat and you modify it so you can recycle the plastic on board, and at the end when you have enough you can eject a like tile out the end, so you just run about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch with all its millions of tons of plastic and just slowly collect this until you sort of like have hundreds of these tiles that you can just string together and like chuck some dirt on top. Uh, Like with the tile idea as well, it'd be good because it's sort of like flexible and it would go with the waves rather than one big structure that'll like not be able to handle storms and whatnot. So yeah, yeah, that because I think a lot of people would be like, well, no, that's not really possible, but it's a really good idea to do it in a sheltered lake or something. Because yeah, I should think about this. 'Cause there's lots of lakes around here. Um, yeah, Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, well, that's the general idea, and at some point, someone does need to clean up all that plastic that we chucked in the ocean. I mean, it's really bad. I can't believe they did it, but yeah, it's happened and it's there now. So you just got to try and move forward. Although I'd be interested to know what companies were responsible for that, because you could quite easily track them down and make them pay for it all, like for the cleanup. Maybe that could be a way to get some funding. Be like, clean up your mess. We know you did it, because there would be like records of shipping and whatnot. Like it would be quite easy to do, I think. Yeah. Well, this, yeah. This is essentially what I'm trying to propose. Is we reuse it and clean it up, and I guess you do have to think about like sea creatures, although maybe not so much because I hear it's where all the plastic is just a dead zone basically, like because no life can live there really. So maybe even you don't have to worry about catching like any or too many fish, although really you do want to worry about this because like with overfishing and all that stuff, like you got to be careful. We'll wake up one day and there'll be no fish left in the sea. It could easily happen, especially at the rate like everyone's going, like the EU, China, America, everyone. They're just the way they fish. It's bad. They need to do less because what they do is they take the entire like shoal of fish, and there's none left at all. So how are they gonna like replenish if there's no fish at all? So it's obviously gonna just cause a collapse in the fish stocks, and we can see this happening now. But unfortunately, no one really cares. Or like maybe the food supply is considered too important to make it an issue. Who really knows?
Yeah. And it's also a problem that not only affects the garbage pack, it's also on land. You have all the trash and it is just buried away. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that has to happen with finding out technology, how you can repurpose all this and recycle it.
Well, I think that's one way to go about it, but at the same time, we have like engineered obsolescence, so things are made to fail after a certain amount of time, and really, this just can't continue. It's A, driven by greed, and B, it's destroying the planet. So it just, we need to make things like they did 100 years ago, like to last, is what I'm saying. And so this requires really society as a whole to change, and I really don't see that happening too much.
Well, there are things that, yeah, it would be very beneficial if they would last longer, but then things for like processors that get better and better every year, yeah, they could
Well, yeah,
maybe,
things like that, but that's like sort of not like a huge portion of the problem, I guess. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it is, but I don't know. I just see like so much wastage in the world that's so unnecessary. it just seems ridiculous to me. Like, for example, I actually was talking about this the other day, and one justification I had is smartphones should be upgradable. Like, you should be able to upgrade your CPUs, so
Yeah,
when
so a
you
modular smartphone that you don't have to throw away the whole thing.
and this is just like one example of 1,000 products
Mm.
that have been designed to fail so they can make more money. And that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah,
Um,
you get the feeling that after some time you update your phone and suddenly it gets so much slower, right? Even
yeah,
though there's
it's
not really something wrong with it. Okay, the battery, right? The battery after some time, okay, it can be that it's just too much work for it, so you have to get a new battery and then it's fine again. But yeah, all the software updates and then suddenly it doesn't really work anymore and it gets just slowed down.
well, I can say a bit about this because I did a bit of programming, and again, it's by design that this is like this. Like, if programmers were better and they did a better job, then these sort of problems wouldn't come up. But you have issues like basically copyright, really, and that sort of thing, intellectual property, and so they make the code as confusing as possible instead of as simple as possible, and this is really half the reason everything is so slow, is because the programs are designed to not make any sense whatsoever, so
Yeah,
like no one can copy them. It's another thing that really doesn't make sense to me, I guess. And so it's like these things seem like they're like it just seems so designed to fail, and you can't do it like this. It's irresponsible,
yeah,
but like it's all okay according to everyone because they get the latest iPhone or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Well, you have this on one hand you have this planned obsolescence, but on the other hand you have also designed lifetime. So, for example, for a car, if you design it for a specific lifetime because you can expect, oh, the customer wants to drive with the car so long, and then he probably wants to get a new car. And what goes then into this thinking is that if we plan it for this lifetime, we don't have to we have to build it sturdy enough so that it survives for this lifetime. If we would build it more sturdy, then the car would get a lot more expensive. You would have a way more heavier car, for example, and if you replace, for example, the roller bearings and something like this, and would use um, roller bearings and things like this that would be more expensive because they have to last. Um, yeah, you can just estimate a specific lifetime for them. Or you would have to make it very modular that you can repair everything, and this also would make it very expensive, but then nobody wants to buy the car. So it's a really different thing.
I You actually make really good points there. Like you don't want to say drive the same car for 50 years, you know. I don't know, but like maybe cars is one thing, but like your kitchen blender would be something different,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like
Yeah,
and
it's something. It's not a one size fits all solution, right? But there are a lot of things
yeah,
that you could make a lot
I
sturdier,
think
and then where you don't have to worry about it anymore.
yeah, I think also the idea of making things like as modular as possible, like replace things rather than replace the whole thing.
Yeah, make it
I
possible
think
to for easy repair and replacement.
yeah, I think that would be a good idea to focus on.
Yeah, and for example, with cars, if you could just easily upgrade your car.
Well, like even that could be made to be like sort of modular, and you sort of just design the shell around it, and get a certain like drivetrain that you do this, and it's easy enough to like take the shell off and put a new one
Yeah,
on. So it looks like a new car, but it's really the same chassis sort of thing. If like
yeah,
I think if you like as soon as you put some effort into thinking about this sort of thing, the like solutions become very obvious. But
yeah. Maybe the industry has to change there also a little bit. If I think about a family or like normal person, people with a private car, they just want to have a car there, and then basically they don't buy the car, they buy the possibility to just drive wherever they want. So they don't want to change anything at the car. They just go to the to the mechanic if it's really necessary, and other than that, the car just stands around or it's ready to drive. But if you have, for example, companies like taxi companies, or if you have car rental companies, they actually are invested in having a car that runs the longest time possible, right? And they are, they would probably be happy about a car where you can just replace parts very easily and fast, and also upgrade the car, because then I don't need to buy a whole new one. For example, for a taxi, right? If you have a taxi and then something gets broken, something breaks, then you can very fast replace it and again make money again.
yeah,
If a taxi is in the at the mechanic for a week, that's a lot of money that goes missing for them.
oh yeah, and it's also like just big inconvenience for not
Yeah,
paying.
right.
Yeah, I've always well, like I actually don't even have a car myself, so I just mostly get around on public
Yeah.
transport.
Yes, it's
So
also starting
really,
that. Yeah,
I don't know, but there is a big difference between public transport and like having your own vehicle. So I can see why no one wants to give this up because it's a lot easier just to get in your car and half an hour later you're at your destination. But if you go on public transport, you sort of like times that number by three, and
yeah,
that's how long it takes.
yeah,
Or at
exactly.
least,
Yeah, there
yeah,
needs to be a solution in between, like very easy accessible Uber or something like that. And yeah, I think it looks like it's getting more and more towards it, because I think our generation sees that if you have a car, then you have to do all the stuff around the car and maintenance and repair and pay taxes for the car and tank it in time. But you just want to go from one place to another real quick and unproblematic, right? So why not just borrow a car or call someone to drive you there?
it'd be good. Have you seen some of these drones that are coming along that are sort of meant to replace cars?
Yeah, there was a Chinese and I think Austrian or German company that had a concept. I think the German company already did a fly. I think the company was called Lilium, and they might a small, yeah, slide to show the concept of it. And the Chinese, they had basically, I think, this some kind of quadrocopter, but in huge, that can carry the people. And yeah, they're now looking where they can apply the technology and actually make a business with it. So it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, it just makes the whole flying car concept one little bit closer, I guess. Something exciting to watch for me. Maybe I'll try and like copy their idea or something, but that's unlikely because I've got my own flying machine to work on. Um,
Yeah, and then you have Elon Musk take that said he doesn't want to. Yeah, he's not thinking so much about flying cars because it'd be very loud if you have all the flying cars flying around, and of course a dread if something happens. So he is building like this underground subway.
um, have heard of this. I think that's like a really good idea. Because, oh yeah,
That
it says in some press releases you can get from, I don't know what it was, like New York to LA in like half an hour or something.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
with
think,
Hyperloop, and he saw this yeah, that tunnel bore machines are very slow and ineffective, and he saw a possibility to crank up the speed of them a lot faster. Particularly for example, he said he made the example that tunnel bore machines right now are slower from the speed than a snail, and he wants to basically beat the snail and make a tunnel bore machine that is faster than a snail.
it's too bad that the conspiracy is not true about the government having tunnel boring machines that melt through the rock. They're
Oh yeah,
apparently nuclear.
yeah, I
Something
heard
like
about
this.
this. Yeah.
It would be nice if it was true,
Yeah,
or
some
if
kind
it
of
is, they won't.
nuclear melting tunnel bore machine that can make a mile in a few hours or something.
I think something like that would be good, but the energy requirements are so huge that you're going to run into problems with everything melting. I think that would be something you'd have to watch out for. But
Yeah,
you know, you could use like sort of tungsten carbide or something like this, and it would hold together probably. But then you still have the energy requirement, and it's
yeah,
just too high, really. But that's
yeah. I think
interesting.
in this tunnel boring, I think it's a lot of potential because there aren't really a lot of underground structures, and it's very hard to do. And
Well,
yeah,
I was I had an idea for like my own version of the Hyperloop. It's just the train is just a normal train with a big neodymium magnet in it, and you place this in a copper coil, and it just goes forward, and essentially lots of that. But it's not very good, but it does work. So, but also I've been thinking underground housing is probably a good idea because
yeah,
it's like stable
underground
temperature.
housing, or you can just use it as yeah, all the industrial structures. You can put them all underground. They don't need light, right? If you have all this machinery, or if you have, for example, structures where you have plants and that the plants are uh, grow under LED light anyway, you can also put them underground, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually practicing with this. Um, I just got some cheap Chinese LED ones. And I'm trying to grow some vegetables, more like chili, actually.
Yeah,
And, they seem to be okay, but they're still not very. Well, the cheap ones that I have are not very good. I guess
yeah.
it's less.
There's this
Uh,
idea of an earth scraper. Basically, instead of going into the sky, it's basically a big building that goes into the earth and has just a long, um, yeah, light well in the middle. And then you have buildings along this. For example, it's like a turned over pyramid shape, and yeah, so everyone has like access to this light in the middle, and then it just goes down, so you don't have to build up, and it's a lot of additional space that you get.
yeah. I think it's a really like good idea to do this sort of thing. Um, I like kind of already found the mountain that I want to do it in as well, but I'm just not sure how to send a link to you. It's on my Facebook page somewhere. But yeah, I was exploring like methods for, I guess, removing large sections of underground rock, and I think
Yeah,
you could use compressed air, or not air, but water, or because they have these cutters in the steel industry, and they cut through like sort of inch steel plate with no problems, just with
yeah,
high pressure. So I'm thinking you could use this sort of thing to bore out the rock to a certain depth, and sort of make a square, and then like break it off or something, and then
yeah.
continue until you sort of have
And
however
with
much space you want, I guess.
yes, you could use the molten rock directly to fortify the tunnel because the problem is that you're boring the hole and then you have to stop and make sure that the tunnel doesn't carve in, right? And if you
Oh,
could melt the stone with this technology, then you could directly use the melted stone to build a wall around the tunnel and the support.
yeah, this would be a good idea because you obviously don't want anything to collapse in on itself. Also, maybe this mountain that I was thinking of is in the middle of an earthquake zone, so not so great on that. So maybe just like forget about it until I move to Australia. And
Yeah,
well,
I
you're not
looked it
going
up.
to.
It's
But,
called friction drilling,
yeah,
and it uses
well, it would
tungsten
work.
carbide drill bits,
I feel like
and
this is inefficient. Um, but yeah, go on. Um,
so and what I
okay.
remembered is that these um, drill bits are not really round, so they have like this. They're like pointed,
Oh
but
yeah.
the point is not really round. It has like a conic shape, so that it when it is turned, it basically kneads the material around it a lot. What it is, this heats up the material until it glows, and then gets easily formable, right? And
Yeah.
the tungsten carbide the tungsten has the ability to stay hard even when it is glowing hot. So it basically, yeah, is
I
using
could actually.
the this property. And that would be maybe interesting. I think that would be a very hard drill, um, a very big drill if you want to drill a tunnel with it. But it would be a nice experiment to see if friction drilling works with stone. Right? You
Well,
you can start small and then just see if it works.
yeah, it might work. Like even if you had to heat up the like drill bit a bit, it would really achieve the like smooth rock wall tunnels that we're after. But,
Yeah.
but I think it would probably go quite slowly still, but I guess that's not too much of a problem. But I think that's a pretty good idea. Like
Mm.
just push your way through the earth and like you gotta I don't know, maybe like rock and soil would react differently to this as well. So these are things as well that you need to think about when tunnel building.
Yeah. It's not a homogeneous material always through, right?
Yeah, like different layers everywhere. But yeah,
Yeah. That would be interesting. And what I have to think about it around this topic is that a lot of this requires lots of energy, and I think there would be a lot more possibility of energy would be a lot cheaper.
well, yeah, I reckon we'd look at energy the wrong way, and we have like hundreds of thousands of megawatts just like going to waste on the planet. Then there's just like sunlight. So we should use more of it. But like photovoltaics and not the answer. It's just far too inefficient. You could probably achieve about 50 or so percent efficiency from like my steam generator with just like harnessing the direct heat rather than going and trying to make electricity from weird interactions with the photons and the phosphorus, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because at one point I looked at making my own solar panels as well, but I didn't have the right equipment. That's really why I didn't. I was going to do vacuum decomposition, where you just vaporize it in a vacuum and you get nice atomic layers. I was just going to try that, but I never really got around to it. And another thing came along, and that's what I focused on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the way like solar panels themselves work, it's just an interaction. I'm pretty sure it's a sulfur atom that they use, but it could be like arsenic or something. I have a feeling it might be. But yeah, I think all around though, they're really well, they are good. The photovoltaics because they give you a decent amount of power. So I guess like they produce so much waste in the manufacturing of them that it's not great. You don't want to have everyone using them because then you're gonna like look at China already. It's
Yeah.
already like polluted as fuck because they were
Yeah.
like, well, we'll make all these solar panels, but
Yeah, but with China, it's basically they don't give a fuck
I
and they
mean,
just say
it's,
we need now
yeah,
coal, and now they're going also more and more nuclear. I think they just do what's necessary, what an engineer probably would do, and it's very
it
funny
is
to see.
quite incredible what they do achieve though. Like, what 20 years ago,
Yeah,
there was nothing really there going on too much, and now there's just like they're the factory of the world. They've, like you gotta admire it a little bit, just like what they've done and the amount of just the numbers of people they've pulled out of poverty there. But like
yeah,
you gotta admire it just a little bit, even though it's still a brutal regime.
yeah. I
Yeah,
spent half a year in China. It was really interesting. In the half year I was there, they built next to my hotel, a few hundred meters. They built a complete yeah, high crossing from I don't know how to call it from the highway crossing and all on bridges. And it was very fascinating to see how fast they were building.
yeah. Well, it won't be long, and they'll be ahead of like America because they've got like their bullet train network that they're building around China, and they're talking about extending it further afield as well. So,
Yeah,
how come we in the West have to just sit here and be held back, and like the Chinese government can just do all this stuff? It doesn't make sense. Like, how does this work? Like,
yeah,
I feel like Western governments are paralysed by mismanagement,
yeah,
and really, it's, I don't know, kind of getting a bit rambly now.
yeah. That's true. They're really shooting the industry and the food, and they don't really like the government don't really see where actually the wealth comes from, and now just uh, they don't care about where wealth is coming from, but just are redistributing wealth and seeing that everyone has some, and then they're just crippling those that actually produce wealth.
Yeah, it seems like this is happening. I'm
So it's
wondering if it's like deliberate or just like they are just not good enough to do their jobs properly. But I'm not sure yet. They haven't got like I don't know, got enough proof.
Yeah.
Like something's definitely going wrong. It should be better than this, I think. Like you see, just people coming out of school and stuff, and you can hardly even add and do maths. It's just realize that's what it's like over here. It's shocking.
Yeah, there's definitely something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, I think we can close up.
Yeah. Um, kind of getting my time. But yeah, it's been good to chat with you. I enjoyed it. I got to learn more about things. I wasn't really organised.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Then thank you very much for having the time.
like I said, I enjoyed it. If you really get
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, and yeah, I hope we can repeat it sometime. And I wish you all the best with the desalination technology. That sounds like very promising, and it's definitely something that is needed.
yeah, it's a big need for it. So many deserts out there that I need to fix. I'm gonna hopefully make enough money to take us into space with it. That's my plan, anyway. Cool. Well, I hope you. I don't know. It'd be morning there, so I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and yeah, we see each other another time.
Cool. Well,